The iPhone 15 is most likely going to be more expensive. And so is that a phone that you should be buying or even be waiting for? There are 8 things that will help you decide that. First, there's going to be significant changes to the design, especially in the Pro models. So it's rumored that they're going to be using titanium frames instead of stainless steel. And that's going to make your phones stronger, lighter, and less of a fingerprint magnet. However, the non-Pro models, they'll still continue to use the aluminum frame, although the frosted matte texture that we used to see on the Pro models, they actually might come to the non-Pro models. Now, another big change is that the bezels are going to be thinner, almost like a 30% reduction, which means if they kept the same display size, then the overall size and even the weight is going to go down. And then you couple that with the titanium frame, you're looking at much more easy to manage, lighter, and easier to grip Pro model phones. Also, a lot of news floating around the fact that Apple may actually ditch the physical mute switch and replace it with an action button, a lot like what we see in the Apple Watch Ultra. Now, of course, it's going to add a lot more functionalities. Hopefully that would be customizable as well. But more importantly, it's going to be more accessible. For example, right now, when I put on a case, it's very difficult for me to reach, and I really have to dig in to get to the mute switch. But with the action button, that problem would be gone. Next, and probably the biggest one, all iPhone 15 models are going to get the USB-C port. Now, of course, the biggest impact of that is that you don't really now have to worry about carrying a lightning cable with you everywhere, because you're going to find a USB Type-C cable pretty much anywhere you go and you'll be able to charge or transfer data. But there is a catch. Apple is going to impose restrictions. It's been reported that Apple is going to use a chipset that will identify whether you're using a genuine MFI certified Type-C cable or not. And if not, then you're not going to get the peak charging speeds, the peak data transfer speeds. Classic Apple. Also, it seems that the Pro models might actually get the faster Type-C port, whereas the non-Pro models might get the inferior USB 2.0 Type-C ports. Next, all iPhone models will now get the floating notch with the dynamic island. Now, if I'm being honest, while it is a noteworthy change aesthetically, functionally, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. Look, I've been using the iPhone 14 Pro for almost about a year now, and I really haven't cared much about that dynamic island. And unless more third-party apps jump onto it, it really isn't much. Alright, now let's talk about performance. And of course, like every year, you're going to get a bump in performance on all iPhone 15 models. iPhone 15 and 15 Plus will go from A15 to A16 Bionic, and the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max will go from A16 to A17 Bionic. Now, to be very honest, you're not going to be able to feel any significant difference between the performance of a phone that's got A16 versus the A17, especially in terms of daily tasks that you do. But where you will be able to really see the difference is battery efficiency and photography. See, the A17 Bionic chip is made using the 3nm fabrication process, right? So it's going to be more battery efficient. And because it's going to have more performance, it should unlock more camera features. It should be able to do more complex image processing faster and just a better overall output. And that's where the A17 will shine over the A16. Again, only for the Pro models. Now, since we're talking about efficiency, let's also talk about batteries. And it looks like all iPhone models are going to get a slight bump in battery capacities. And then you couple those slightly bigger battery capacities with more power efficient chips, you can definitely expect slight improvement in everyday battery performance. And now let's talk about the cameras. Look, I already said that it's going to have a better processor, so you can expect better image processing and a better overall output, but even hardware-wise, there seems to be a big enhancement. So this time you'll get a periscope lens so that you can finally zoom into photos. And it seems that the iPhone 14 Pro Max is only going to support up to 5x or maybe 6x zoom level. But hey, it's a start. And I'm sure they'll have a very well-crafted reason as to why that zoom level is the best zoom level. Unfortunately, this is only going to be in the iPhone 15 Pro Max and not the 15 Pro. And that's a little disturbing because see, up until now, the Pro Max has only been a Pro phone, but with a bigger battery and a bigger display. Functionally, both the phones have been pretty much similar. But with the periscope lens only being in the iPhone 14 Pro Max, that makes it functionally a superior Pro phone than compared to the regular Pro. Also, some rumors are suggesting that the aperture may actually go from f1.8 to f1.7. Of course, not a huge change, but it's going to allow slightly more light to enter the sensor, and that means you can expect better low light performance as well. I also want to quickly talk about the display. It seems that they're going to take the peak brightness from 2000 nits on the Pro models to 2500 nits. I mean, 2000 nits was pretty crazy to begin with, but with 2500, they're going to still retain the crown of the fastest? But with 2500 nits, they're going to maintain and retain that crown for the brightest display on a smartphone. But here's my problem with Apple and their displays. There's no leak whether the base and the Plus model will get the higher 120Hz refresh rate or not. Most likely, they're going to be stuck at 60Hz. Apple, high refresh rate on a display is not a pro feature. It's outright basic. So grow up and do the right thing. Anyway, adding to that bad news and coming to the end of the video, let's talk about the pricing. And if not all the models, at least the Pro models are expected to see a price hike of about $100 to $200. I mean, new chip, new materials, a zoom lens, and accounting for some inflation, a price hike is very plausible. And so if you are thinking of buying the iPhone 15, especially the Pro models, prepare for the worst. And that's a wrap, guys, about the iPhone 15 series. And if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them with whatever information I do have on the iPhone 15 series up until now. But yeah, take everything with a pinch of salt. And if you guys enjoyed watching the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification icon, and mark all. It really helps the channel grow. I'll see you guys in the next one.